Ever have that feeling, the one where you feel like you've kind of lost touch with your own joy? Well, that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to go on a little journey, a guide, really, to finding your way back to that lighter, more spontaneous version of you. All right, let's get into it. It almost always starts with a question, just like this one. Maybe you catch a glimpse of yourself in the mirror or in a shop window, and it just hits you. Where did that person go? That hopeful, funny person. This feeling, it's really at the heart of what we're exploring today. That gap between the you remember and the you see right now.
So, where does this all start? Well, it often begins in what feels like a pretty low place, a valley you could call it. And it's usually sparked by one single tiny moment of clarity. For the person whose story inspired this whole guide, it was something his wife said about their rescue dog. That one little comment made him stop and think about the energy face he was putting out there. Not just to his dog, but to everyone.
All right, so what is this energy face? It's way more than just whether you're smiling or frowning. Nope, it's the whole vibe you give off without saying a single word. It's basically the story your insides are telling on the outside. And you got to ask yourself, what story am I telling? Is it one of hope and joy, or has it kind of slowly turned into one of dread and despair? It's a really powerful idea when you think about it.
And look, when you start to see this in yourself, it can bring up some tough stuff. You might worry, oh no, am I becoming that cliché, that grumpy old man? Or you just get that sinking feeling that your default setting has somehow switched from hopeful to sad. If any of this is hitting home for you, I just want you to know, you are so not alone in this.
Okay, so here's where it gets really interesting. You'd think that the way out of this is to, think your way out, right? But it's actually the opposite. The path back starts with your body. The whole idea is that you can use your physical self to lead your heart and your mind back to a better place. It all begins with a few super simple physical steps. So, let's talk about 3 things you can literally do right now. First up, soften your face. Just consciously relax your jaw, your forehead, maybe even try a tiny smile. You don't have to feel it. Think of it like you're just sending an invitation out for joy to stop by. Second, breathe deeper. It's wild how our breathing gets all shallow when we're stressed. Taking a few deep breaths can actually start to rewire your emotional state. And third, stand taller. Despair, man, it makes us hunch over, so fight it. Pull those shoulders back. These aren't just symbolic. They cause real changes in your body.
And this quote just nails it, doesn't it? It's totally okay if your heart isn't on board yet. That's the whole point. You're letting your body kind of retrain your heart, remind it what joy feels like. It's like you're helping your emotional self find its way back home again.
All right, so we started with the physical. Now what? The next step is to look back into your past. But, and this is key, not with regret. No, we're going on a treasure hunt. We're looking for breadcrumbs, little clues that can lead you back to that lighter version of you.
I love this idea. Think of humor and spontaneity like they're muscles, and if you don't use them, they get weak. So, how do you start working them out again? You start small. Super low stakes. Tell a funny story from when you were a kid. Put on that song that used to be your song. Whistle. Sing along to the radio even if you're terrible. It's not about reliving the past, it's about waking up the parts of you that have been asleep for a while.
This is such a great way to put it. Joy isn't some locked fortress you have to lay siege to. It's more like a room in your own house. You just forgot you left the door open. These little actions, they're like remembering where the door is and just walking through it. The joy was right there the whole time, just waiting.
Okay, so this brings us to some of the deeper work. We've dealt with the body, we've looked at the past. Now it's about the story you're telling yourself in the here and now. This is where you realize, hey, wait a minute, I'm the one writing this story. I'm not just a character who has to follow some old script.
And this is the big shift right here. On one side, you have the story you might have just accepted. Well, sadness is my default. It's just my history, my family, it's just me. But then you realize you have a choice. You can start writing a totally new story, one that's aspirational. It's not about facts from your past. It's about what your soul wants for your future. It's about deciding who you're becoming.
But how do you make that new story actually stick? Here's the secret. Joy isn't a place you arrive at. It's not a destination. It's a ritual, a daily practice. It's something you do, not just something you hope to feel someday.
So what does that look like? Here are some really practical ideas. Start noticing micro moments of gratitude. I'm talking tiny things like the taste of your coffee or your dog wagging its tail. Or create a small ritual that's just for joy. Put on a song and have a silly dance. If you got a pet, watch them. They are masters of living in the moment. And a big one, start a simple journal.
Now, when I say journal, don't panic. This doesn't have to be some big, intimidating thing. We're talking 3 simple lines a day. That's it. First, write down one thing that gave you a moment of peace. This just trains your brain to spot the good stuff. Second, one thing you noticed about your energy. No judgment, just awareness. And third, one small thing you'd like to try tomorrow. This creates that gentle forward momentum. See? Simple, but so powerful.
And please, remember this. You don't have to do this in a vacuum. You don't have to generate all this new energy by yourself. You can actually catch it from other people. Hope really is like a flame, passed from one candle to another. It's okay to let someone else's light help you find yours again.
So, let's circle back to that fear we started with, the whole "am I becoming a grumpy old man" thing. Let's flip that on its head. This isn't about you being in decline, not at all. This is you becoming a wise soul in transition. You're having the courage to ask the big questions and look for the answers. That isn't decline, my friend. That is growth. That's evolution.
And that's really where we land. Because knowing all this is great, but change only happens when you do something. We've talked about how joy is a practice, not just a feeling. So the only question that really matters now is, what's your first practice going to be? What's one small thing you're going to do today?